Oh, I've been in the sun. It's also really humid. This morning it was like 80, 81 degrees outside. That was at like 9, 10 a.m. The humidity was 101. Someone, like, I ended up waking up. Someone woke me up. I tried to go back to, at like 9 a.m. I tried to go back to sleep, but I couldn't because of how humid it was and how hot. I was like, this is miserable. So yeah, and then tonight I have work from like 8 until 2 a.m. And I did such a good job last night on, what was it? Working at the store at the other location, that they asked me if I could go ahead and help out like once a week over at that location. I'm like, yes. Because it's an extra 8 hours or so of work. So I'm like, I can totally do that. Like, yeah. So, yeah, I'm gonna see if I can do that. Yeah. Then tonight I'm working 8 until like 2 a.m. And then tomorrow night I think I'm working 4 until 2 a.m. And then Sunday I'm working like 4 until I think 2 a.m. 1 a.m. ish. So yeah, I'm glad for any of the opportunities. I also watched the thing on your cousin's page, and I take it in a way it's like you and me. In regards to the video, where it's like the oldest and youngest. So you're afraid of the oldest being feral, but then the youngest is like, hold my cup. I'm gonna get you. I'm guessing that's like similar to me and you. I know there's people. They're walking in the background. I take it that's similar to me and you, where basically, wind, where it's like one moment we're cool and chill, and then the next moment, like one person tries to do something, the other person gets back. So yeah, I admit I do think there comes, um, not all the time, but sometimes where it's like, okay, time to defend yourself, and then sometimes where it's like, okay, you know what? Let's go ahead and handle this peacefully. I've learned that, thanks to you, because I've spent so much time trying to defend myself. So, for example, this one guy, a random person, started sending me a message. I'm like, okay, what is going on? So I started talking to him. My defenses are like at 100. He sends me this video though, where basically like 1980s, where in like the Middle East, a man would slap a woman, and then she would spend the rest of the day crying and would clean the house. Then like 2000s or so, basically he would slap her, and then she would slap him several times, and then she would leave, and then pull the finger out at him as she's leaving. It's like, bye, like, I'm not going to tolerate this. Then it showed 2026, where basically he attempted to slap her. She blocked him. She went ahead and blocked him, and then she like beat him up. It wasn't just a slap, it was beat him up, and then packed a bag for him and threw it at him, and then pulled his hair and pulled him out of the house or out of the apartment. I was like, yeah, that reminds me of me. And then I was like, you know what? You get points for that. I mean, like, in other words, like, I'm not going to insult you and tell you like a bunch of horrible things, basically. I'm just gonna be a little bit more calm with you because um that was actually kind of funny. I was like, yeah, I anyways, so I was like, that is hilarious. Like, and I was like, I would definitely beat up a guy. Like, if, or try, I wouldn't necessarily be able to physically beat him up, but I would definitely do what I had to in order to protect myself. So, whether, like, especially when I'm like, I don't know you, dude, I would go ahead and like, you're not listening to what I'm saying. I would insult him or like do whatever I needed to do. And so, like, I told him that, I would beat up a guy, basically. And he said, you would beat me up with your beauty. I was like, okay, that was pretty good. No, that was the part that made me laugh. The video was like, yeah, that definitely feels like me. But that made me laugh. And then he, like, said some stuff. I was like, yeah, no. And I told him, instead of just, being very a force of nature, basically, I basically, without being insulting, I was like, that was very inappropriate, like that was wrong. And he's like, I'm sorry. I was like, you listened. So yeah, I do admit sometimes it is a little hard to I admit I do need to be more gentle when the time comes. There are times where it's like, okay, you know what, I could definitely get a tan right here. I could definitely be a lot more gentle with people. But if I realize that they're not listening, to go ahead and kind of be like a force of nature. So yeah, I can definitely work on that. And I don't mind doing that. I did definitely get a kick out of it, where it's like telling the oldest to be more gentle with the youngest, and then like they end up not being very gentle, and the youngest is like, all right, like I told you, and then just beat up the other person. And I'm just like, okay. So yeah, I know, I'll continue working on that. I'll continue working on that overall, of just being a little bit more or a lot more gentle. Because unless the time calls for it. And what I mean by that is, like, if somebody is not respecting what I've said, then it's like, so yeah. Anyways, so how was today? What happened was that I've gone into Walmart twice today. The first time, get some stuff that hopefully was on sale. Second time, I got some more stuff that was on sale. So, like the turkey bacon stuff, or the turkey jerky. Basically, instead of being made out of beef, it was made out of turkey. I went ahead and bought 22 of those things. Originally, it was like $4.50. Or no, the original price was like $5 something. I was like, then they marked it down to $4.50. I was like other beef is normal price $4.50. Like, you can do better. And I was like, I'm just gonna wait. And then finally, is that one of the employees? Nope, just a customer. I was looking at either from the Mexican place or the Planet Fitness. So I was like, I'll pay $2 for all this. So I bought 22 of them. Yeah, I'm happy because now I have a bunch of turkey jerky that I can eat and snack on here and there while eating like other foods. So yeah, I think I have a lot of food now. I think I have too much food now. So yeah. Oh yeah. My daughter, blackberry with lemonade. It's tasty. Thank you. What was it? So what it was that I was going into Walmart this morning / early afternoon, and whenever I went in, it was raining, so I had my umbrella out. And as I was walking in, the little girl, she was trying to close the umbrella. Well, she's like 4 years old, and she's trying to close the umbrella. And I was like, oh, you can do it. And I was trying to show her, but like the mom was like stepped in and like showed her how to do it. And the daughter couldn't quite grasp it. And I think it was because she's just she's like 3, 4 years old. So her muscles are still developing. Her fine motor skills, like where we can do like this and then pick things up just with a finger instead of grasping things with our hands, is still developing. So she went ahead and like helped her daughter like pull the umbrella closed. Like literally she like pulled it closed. And then I asked the mom, hey, it's okay if I like show her? And she's like, yeah, sure. So I went ahead and took my umbrella, because I hadn't closed my umbrella yet. And like instead of pulling the top part closed, so there we go. Instead of pulling like this part close to here, I went ahead and was like, maybe it'll be easier because, you know, fine motor control and such, muscle control, isn't entirely there. So I went ahead and pushed the bottom closed to this. So I did like, so I did that instead. I was like, maybe she could do that. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll help with her, yeah. It's a very weird tan line. I'm like, okay, you know what, maybe that'll help her with her, like, fine motor skills, and like, or not fine motor skills, help her with like closing the umbrella. And then after that, the mom went ahead and showed her daughter again. So hopefully, because it was hard for her to like close the umbrella, it'll be a lot easier for her to basically close the umbrella. So yeah. I take it overall, like, as of right now, the life that you have, it's very peaceful and calm. And I take it with me, like, just from the stories I've told of things happening. I am, I'm like the feral younger child who's like, the older child is rough. And then whenever the older child is rough, then I get rough also. So, as a way of defending myself, I also read the comments. They're like, oh yeah, my older child was playing rough with my younger child, and then my younger child was like, no, stop, and tickling, and then the next thing you hear is like, ow, crying or something, and then suddenly, like, from then on, the older child did not do that thing with the younger child. So it's like, yeah. I take it in a way, that's how I think you've mentioned before where, like, I make you more gentle, which I think is a wonderful thing. Like, I think we all kind of need to know and understand when to be gentle. Sometimes there's a time to, like, really push back, but then there's other times in which we need to be gentle. So, just checking the time. I need to take a shower. There's times in which it's like, okay, yeah, we need to be gentle, and then other times where it's like, okay, like, you need to be rough and tough. So, yeah, there we go, that should work. Where there's other times where it's like, okay, you need to be, like, rough and tough and all that jazz. I think I'll put ice in here. She filled this up like 2 hours ago. It's now like ice water. I'm going to put this in here. Make it cold and slightly water it down, because McAllister's is like, it's better. Like, it's not as strong. So, yeah. But yeah, so I take it overall, like, I'm like the rough and feral younger child, where it's like somebody tries to beat me up, and then I'm like, really? You want to try? So yeah, like, thank you for also, like, letting me know there are times in which I need to be nicer. I am glad that I bring out the more gentle part of you, because I think that's definitely needed, just in general. Just to be like, hey, you know what? Be nice. let's see. Like, be nice and all that jazz. So yeah. No, I totally get it. I understand that. But let's see what else is there. Let's see. But yeah, there are times in which I can be nice and gentle, and yeah, I'll continue working on myself to be nice and gentle because I know it's needed. Ooh, lightning. I definitely understand and know it's like very much needed, and excuse me. Yeah. What else? Nice, gentle. Yeah. So I do hope, oh, I turned my car off. Overall, like, mine went blank. Shoot. I take it the part that's where I'm rough is sort of like, but I do understand there's a time, I do hope, like, there is a time and place to be rough, but then there's a time and place to be gentle, and I do hope, like, well, from what I can tell, you do remember the good times. Like, there are times in which I am gentle, but, like, you do remember also that I can be rough. And I wonder if that part slightly intimidates you. Because I am rough, and I can be rough, and, what I say, you know that you would probably lose to me. And I say that just as a fact. And it's kind of funny. Basically, you would kind of lose to me because, like, what is it? Where Obi-Wan fell for the Mandalorian because you would always have the higher ground. But then in my case, like, you know you would sometimes lose to me because, like, I figure out a way to be like, no. So, yeah, it's like, I'll admit, like, if it's something when I know I'm wrong, then I will accept the blame. Like, I understand that, and if it helps at all, I do willingly submit. And it's like, okay, you know what? I was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. I need to learn from my mistakes, things like that. So I understand that. And so, like, during those times, I fully accept responsibility. But I guess when it's like, okay, I know, maybe not necessarily that I'm right, but the other person is wrong. So, like, whenever some of the managers or whoever is trying to take revenge, then it's like, no, like, you should not do that. You cannot do that. That XYZ is wrong to do. So in cases like that, like, yeah, in cases like that, I'm just like, I'm willing to step up. But I also understand that in cases where I'm wrong, like, just, I can well, not definitely, but I imagine I could figure out a way to get after the person to make them, like, back down. Or, like, so I'll win if it's a competition. But, like, when it's like, okay, I know that I'm wrong, I go ahead and willingly submit. So if it's weird, if it's, just to give you a heads up, if it's something where it's like the Jedi versus the Mandalorian, or something similar to that, I am content with submitting to someone else. Like, I willingly submit, because it's like, okay, I could win. Like, I could totally, like, prove my point and win and all that. But it's like, you know what? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And I'll go ahead and submit to whatever decision or whatever the other person decides. And it's like, you know what? I understand. Because there comes a time in which, like, I choose to do that. I think my parents trained me that way. I think that's the main thing. They trained me that way to like sort of, well, I think just due to life, like it's taught me to stand up. But I think due to the training that I've received, it's like, okay, you need to submit. So I think overall, like I've had a healthy balance of like submission and being like, I'm going to stand up for, you know, what's right, basically. So again, I guess you might be slightly intimidated by me, but I hope that you're not too intimidated, or like, I hope because of what I've said, you won't be too intimidated in the future, because I definitely understand that I can be a lot. But again, I hope that I'm not too much. So, yeah. But I understand that I can be a little too much for some people. Yeah. It is what it is. Anyways, I'm gonna go inside. It's 21 minutes. The humidity is outrageous. It's at least 95 degrees feeling. The temperature, honestly, is probably more like 75 because of the wind. So, yeah, I'll talk to you later. Hope that you have a great rest of your night. I will do a video whenever I get off. And then I guess after that, just let me know what you want to talk about. I hope things go well with your sibling. I noticed they posted a thing where they had to close down tonight. I don't know why, but I hope everything works out. Yeah. But yeah, let me know if there's anything else you want to talk about, and I can post that after I get off work, or yeah, I'll say goodnight when I get off work, or respond to it in the morning. And if there's anything else if you want me to say anything after that, just or like say anything tomorrow, just do another video or something. I'll respond then. So yeah, talk to you later. Bye. Oh yeah, whenever I started this video, it was like 6:40. So yeah, bye.